All good? Go baby! Pilar Sanders steps up for her sons as Shedeur and Shilo face NFL realities. Berea, Ohio, and Tampa, Florida. In the high-stakes world of professional football, every inch gained is a triumph, and every setback, a headline. While the gridiron is where most fans focus their attention, it's the support off the field that often defines a player's trajectory. And for Shedeur and Shilo Sanders, two rising talents navigating the turbulent early days of their NFL careers, that steady support system has come from someone long overlooked in the narrative, their mother, Pilar Sanders. As Coach Prime, aka Deion Sanders, continues to dominate headlines at Colorado with his magnetic leadership and larger-than-life persona, his ex-wife Pilar is quietly but powerfully shaping the emotional foundation of her children. With both sons drafted, positioned as fourth-string players, and trying to break into league rotations, their mother's message isn't just comforting, it's vital. This is the story of how a proud mother's strength, silence, and social media cheers are helping Shedeur and Shilo through one of the most defining periods of their young lives. The dream deferred, but not denied. The 2025 NFL Draft was supposed to be a fairy tale ending to a saga that began with a father coaching his sons at Jackson State, then Colorado, and now watching them enter the professional ranks. But the reality hit hard. Neither Shedeur nor Shilo Sanders heard their names called in the early rounds as many had predicted. Instead, Shedeur, despite a Heisman-worthy college campaign, slid to the 5th round with the Cleveland Browns, and Shilo went undrafted before signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was a jarring twist for the Sanders family. Fans were quick to express concern. Critics circled like vultures. But amid the chaos, one voice rose, not to criticize, but to celebrate. Pilar's comment that lit up Instagram. On August 6th, when Football Forever posted an update about Shilo's standing on the Buccaneers' depth chart, fans saw what they feared. Buccaneers rookie Shilo Sanders is the fourth-string safety on the initial depth chart red triangle pointed down. But rather than shrinking from the news, Pilar Sanders leaned in with full maternal pride. Her comment lit up the post. All good, and his brother was listed as fourth in the depth chart too. Goo baby. Red heart, red heart, red heart, red heart, clapping hands, clapping hands, clapping hands, clapping hands, clapping hands. It was pure, unfiltered love. To Pilar, depth charts were not definitive. They were temporary checkpoints in a long and demanding journey. What mattered most? That her sons were chasing their dreams with unwavering grit, and that, in her eyes, was worth more than a starting slot or an endorsement deal. Shilo Sanders, fighting for recognition in Tampa. Though he went undrafted, Shilo Sanders hasn't wasted a single snap at Buccaneers camp. As of the latest reports, the 25-year-old safety has not only impressed during training but has done so with bold plays and smart instincts. During an intense 11-on-11 drill, Shilo reportedly recorded multiple pass breakups and even stopped quarterback Baker Mayfield on a tackle, an effort that turned heads. Buccaneers staff have started noting his improved footwork and increasing confidence. According to insiders, Todd Bowles is taking notice, even if Shilo remains behind Tyke Smith, Kayvon Merriweather, and Rashad Wisdom on the depth chart. But it's clear to fans, and his family, that Shilo has no intention of fading into the background. He's not just another safety, one Buccaneers insider noted. He's vocal, he's disciplined, and he plays with a chip on his shoulder. The kid wants it bad. And behind every play, behind every rep, is the echo of his mother's voice, "Goo baby." Shedeur Sanders, facing the Browns' gauntlet. Meanwhile, in Cleveland, Shedeur Sanders finds himself on a different kind of battlefield, one marked by scrutiny, politics, and an unexpectedly steep climb. On August 5th, Elite College Football delivered its own update on Instagram. Former Colorado QB Shedeur Sanders has been listed as the fourth-string QB for the Cleveland Browns going into the preseason. Fellow QB pick Dillon Gabriel is the third-string QB. It was a bitter pill for Shedeur, who not long ago had the sports world marveling at his poise, accuracy, and leadership at Colorado. He was the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. He passed for over 4,000 yards in a single season. His jersey was retired, and now he's fourth in line behind Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dylan Gabriel. NFL veteran Michael Lombardi put the situation in perspective on 92.3 The Fan. It's impossible to develop two young quarterbacks at the same time. It's not college. In other words, one of these rookies, Shedeur or Gabriel, may not last long. But for Pilar Sanders, it wasn't about placement. It was about effort, resilience, and belief. The mother beyond the sidelines. While Deion Sanders remains in the spotlight with press conferences and ESPN features, Pilar Sanders has carved out her own space of influence, one that is quieter, but no less impactful. A former model and actress, Pilar was once a regular on shows like Veronica's Closet, Walker, Texas Ranger, and The Jamie Foxx Show. Before her association with Coach Prime, she was a star in her own right. Today, at 50, she's transformed herself into a beacon of fitness and wellness. On June 3rd, she posted a now-viral TikTok from her early morning gym session, showcasing a washboard set of abs that shocked even longtime followers. "My 6 a.m. pre-workout hype," the caption read, simple but powerful. Her followers responded in awe. The fact that she's a mother of three only amplified the admiration. But Pilar didn't stop at fitness for herself. She created Pilar Fit for Life, an online platform offering fitness coaching, motivational content, and lifestyle guidance. In a world where social media often distracts, Pilar is using it to inspire, especially moms. "My beautiful bubby ogre. The Shalomi factor." The third Sanders sibling, Shalomi, also known as Bossy, has been carving her own path in women's college basketball. Initially part of the Colorado Buffaloes program under her father's coaching reign, she later transferred to play for the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. The transition wasn't easy. Deion Sanders himself expressed disappointment publicly, hinting at personal frustration. But once again, Pilar was there with unconditional support. On June 12th, she reposted Shalomi's photos from Bulldogs training camp, adding her signature flair. "My beautiful bubby ogre. Her message wasn't about stats or expectations. It was about love. It was about showing up when it mattered most. Why Pilar Sanders matters now more than ever. For Shedeur and Shilo, the path forward is uncertain. Their NFL fate is far from sealed. One injury, one roster cut, one misstep could change everything. But in Pilar, they have a steadying presence. Someone who celebrates every practice report, every depth chart placement, and every 6 a.m. workout grind. In a world obsessed with wins and losses, Pilar Sanders reminds us of what really matters: resilience, belief, and family. And while the perfect reunion of Deion, Pilar, Shedeur, and Shilo may still be a dream, the emotional foundation they've all built remains unshakable. Final thoughts. A mother's applause echoes louder than criticism. In an era where football has become a business first and a game second, stories like Pilar's are a refreshing reminder of the human side of sports. The Sanders siblings are not just athletes. They are young adults navigating pressure, expectation, and the transition into stardom. Through it all, their mother is there, not with sideline passes, but with public praise and private encouragement. Her voice isn't trying to control the narrative. It's amplifying the one already written in grit and grace. So whether Shilo climbs the Buccaneers' depth chart or Shedeur surprises everyone in Cleveland, one thing is certain: Pilar Sanders will be there, cheering, posting, believing, and sometimes that's all an athlete needs. Goo baby! Red heart, clapping hands, clapping hands, clapping hands. The roar of a mother's applause, carried across state lines, locker rooms, and practice fields, may just be the loudest sound in the NFL this year. Shedeur Sanders gets shot at redemption as Kevin Stefanski confirms Browns QB shakeup after Kenny Pickett injury. Berea, Ohio. If the NFL is a jungle, then training camp is the first battle for survival. And right now in Cleveland, the quarterback hierarchy has been turned upside down. Amidst injuries, uncertainties, and last-minute signings, the Cleveland Browns are facing a test of depth and resilience. And unexpectedly, It's rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders who is stepping into the spotlight, armed with swagger, patience, and a chance to prove the doubters wrong. As injuries pile up for the Browns, especially to newly acquired Kenny Pickett and fellow rookie Dillon Gabriel, head coach Kevin Stefanski has been forced to make a bold decision ahead of the team's first preseason game against the Carolina Panthers on August 8th. With veteran Joe Flacco also ruled out, it's now official. Shedeur Sanders will start under center on Friday. This is more than just a roster shuffle. It's a moment of reckoning for a young man whose draft slide shocked many, whose reps in camp have been limited, and whose famous last name often brings more criticism than credit. But as Stefanski hands Sanders the keys, at least for one night, the Browns are about to learn what this fifth-round pick is really made of. The Browns' quarterback carousel takes a drastic turn. The Browns started training camp with a rare luxury for quarterbacks vying for position in a competitive atmosphere. With Flacco as the seasoned veteran, Pickett as the high-upside newcomer from Pittsburgh, Dillon Gabriel as a dual-threat rookie, and Shedeur Sanders fresh from rewriting record books at Colorado, it seemed Stefanski had options galore. But as any coach will tell you, training camp is where plans go to die. Within weeks, Cleveland's QB room went from crowded to chaotic. Kenny Pickett suffered a soft tissue injury that sidelined him. Dillon Gabriel also picked up an injury that ruled him out of the preseason opener. Joe Flacco, at 40, was held out as a precaution due to minor soreness. Suddenly, the Browns found themselves scrambling. Enter Tyler Huntley, the former Ravens backup with a 72.5% completion rate in previous Browns workouts, re-signed on Monday to give the team an experienced arm alongside Sanders. Yet with limited time to get Huntley back up to speed, Kevin Stefanski had no choice but to roll the dice on the rookie who's been biding his time and studying harder than anyone else in the room. Kevin Stefanski confirms the decision. We'll play Shedeur at QB. On Tuesday, Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski addressed the media, dropping the headline Browns fans have been waiting to hear. We'll rest some starters. We'll play Shedeur at QB. We'll get Tyler Huntley back up to speed. It's a great opportunity for all of our young players, Stefanski said, via 92.3 The Fan. It's not just an opportunity, it's a turning point. Shedeur Sanders, who began training camp buried at 4th on the depth chart, has been quietly pushing through his reps, often with second and third team offensive units. Still, he never flinched. Not when critics said he was overhyped. Not when reports questioned his mechanics. Not when he was overlooked during team drills. And now, when everything is suddenly on the line, he's ready. Shedeur's grit. It don't matter to me. A few days before the announcement, Sanders made a revealing statement to reporters, one that now sounds prophetic. Truthfully, I don't care what O-line I go out there with. Could be ones, twos, threes, whatever the situation is. And I know Friday when the game is, if I'm with twos, if I'm with threes. It don't matter to me. I'm just ready to get down and get to doing what I could, Shedeur said confidently. Those aren't the words of someone clinging to excuses. That's the voice of a quarterback embracing adversity, welcoming the challenge, and betting on himself. It's this type of mentality that makes his preseason debut one of the most anticipated events of the Browns offseason. Because beyond raw numbers and depth chart labels, Shedeur's story is one of persistence, family legacy, and a burning desire to carve his own path. The bad news behind the good news, Kenny Pickett's setback. While Shedeur gets his shot, the circumstances that led to it aren't ideal for the team. The Browns' quarterback crisis deepened with Monday's official confirmation that Kenny Pickett would not suit up against the Panthers. Pickett, who joined the Browns this offseason after a turbulent end to his Pittsburgh Steelers tenure, had shown promise in early practices, but a soft tissue injury has kept him sidelined during key workouts. Stefanski had previously downplayed the injury, saying on July 28th, "Felt something, so we'll just treat it. For any player, you're disappointed when you can't be out there with any injury, but he'll be fine. He'll rehab, he'll get back out very quickly." But on Tuesday, insider Daniel Oyefusi provided an update that raised eyebrows. Browns QBs Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel won't play in the preseason opener, but will participate in 7 on 7S during joint practices today, per Kevin Stefanski. Translation: the Browns are taking it slow with Pickett, but fans are left wondering, how long is too long? The Gabriel dilemma and the QB1 mystery. Dillon Gabriel, the Oklahoma star turned Browns rookie, had entered camp with some buzz. Known for his agility, deep ball, and leadership, Gabriel had leapfrogged Shedeur in the early depth chart. But nagging injuries have kept him from truly staking his claim. Michael Lombardi, speaking on 92.3 The Fan, summed up the problem. It's impossible to develop two young quarterbacks at the same time. It's not college. That's the brutal reality Stefanski now faces. With 4 QBs vying for future roles and only one football to go around, the Browns must eventually choose who stays, who goes, and who leads. And if Shedeur Sanders turns heads Friday night in Charlotte, those answers may come sooner than expected. Tyler Huntley, the X factor in the room. Let's not forget Tyler Huntley. The Browns brought back the mobile backup after injuries forced their hand. Huntley, familiar with the Browns system from earlier in the year, brings experience but limited upside. He is unlikely to steal the QB1 role. But his presence means one thing. Shedeur will need to do more than just manage the game on Friday. He'll need to command it. It's not enough to complete passes or avoid turnovers. Shedeur must move the offense, show poise under pressure, and prove he can handle the speed and complexity of the NFL. Something only live reps can truly reveal. The stakes, beyond preseason. For most rookies, the preseason is where reps are earned and depth charts are settled. But for Shedeur Sanders, this game is about narrative. It's about rewriting the perception that he slid in the draft for a reason. It's about proving he's not just Coach Prime's son, but a legitimate NFL quarterback. If he performs well, Stefanski may have no choice but to move him up in the rotation. If he stumbles, he could be relegated to developmental status or even cut, depending on how the quarterback room shapes up before week 1. The stakes are high. A family watching closely. You can bet Deion Sanders, Shedeur's father and current head coach at Colorado, will be watching Friday's game with pride and nerves. So too will Pilar Sanders, the player's mother, who recently shared emotional public support for her sons after both were listed fourth on their respective teams' depth charts. And the fans? Well, they're torn. Many believe in Shedeur's upside. Others question his transition from college to the pros. But one thing is undeniable. They'll all be watching. Final word. The Dog Pound's new hope? It's funny how quickly things can change in the NFL. One day you're buried on the depth chart. The next, you're QB1 for the preseason opener. But that's the life Shedeur Sanders has stepped into. A life filled with expectations, scrutiny, and opportunity. For now, he has one job. Light it up on Friday. Move the chains. Make smart decisions. Show leadership. If he does, he won't just earn more reps. He might just earn Cleveland's heart. Because in the jungle of the NFL, it's not just the strongest who survive. It's the hungriest. And Shedeur Sanders? He's starving.